Good afternoon, student. For today's second session for Cambridge, we have Anju ma'am with us for this today's session. Ma'am, you can continue with your class, ma'am.
Yes, thank you, Gunal. Good afternoon, everyone. So happy to meet you for the second day. And this is the third day of training, I understand. So you've been learning or going through quite a diverse topics, but at the same time, which will be of use to you that is maybe in the coming days, and it will help you to prepare yourself for the days ahead, in the sense maybe getting a placement or getting a good internship or completing your course and working successfully. So as a continuation of yesterday's, I do not know how many of you have thought about it yesterday regarding yesterday's session. So one crucial topic which we dealt with was emotional intelligence. So, and that is how to manage your emotions. That is what we dealt with yesterday. So, at least some of you would have found time to look into yourself and maybe identify, determine certain elements or kind of emotions, and then understand the reason for it, why you have excess of it, or why you have limited maybe level of that particular emotion. You would have thought of it. Anyway, so this would be more focused, this session is more focused towards employment. So in the next 2 hours, I'll be covering those aspects which are required for employment, because all the topics that which we have been dealing with for the past 3 days is of course going to be crucial to you. And at the same time, today's my topics are employability skills and communication at workplace. So let's deal with the maybe the one that is difficult to understand first, and let's move on to the second one, which is communication at workplace. Second, that is later after 1 hour, so that tomorrow also we'll be continuing with communication at workplace, workplace continuation. Sorry, workplace communication continued in a different, that is forms of communication you would be learning tomorrow. So coming to the point, uh, right. So this is the topic, employability skills and preparing for employment. So you'd have been learning for the past 2 days, you'd have been listening to maybe how to prepare yourself for interview. One is preparing for an employment. So the final, it is the outcome of it is the resume, or whatever your learning so far was, or your achievement so far was, or whatever you have gained over a period of time culminates in a resume. But before that, there are so many things, right? So many things which you have been acquiring as part of your formal education, as part of your interaction with others. What are those skills? We'll be looking at those skills which are of importance for the from the employment perspective, right? So employability skills. Of course, maybe if I ask you, okay, what exactly are employability skills? The skills that obviously it is the skills that make you employable. So let's have a just look at it. Maybe this for an understanding. See, employers look for, when we start working, they look for a lot of skills among the candidates. Hmm? So how would you, when you get a placement, so when you apply your resume itself, or when it can be a video resume or it can be your print resume. So in whichever format you apply it, they'll be able to gauge who you are. They'll be able to understand who you are. And these days, as technology has advanced, there are myriad ways, or there are a number of ways by which they'll be able to check the background of a candidate, both academic as well as non-academic aspects. That is one thing. So, and what exactly do you think are they looking for? So, the one of the most important skills that they look for is the skill of communication. So it has been a neglected skill. So the ability to communicate, the ability to articulate your ideas properly and clearly, precisely. So when you are with friends, okay, you'll be using slang. For example, let me give a simple example where that is your chat, for example, right? WhatsApp messages, your chats. So they are very simple. You use your own language, and the that is you have formulated. So you convert that. That is you translate that into your, that is English, whatever your mother tongue is been translated into English, and you convey it, but the person on the other side also understands. But in the workplace, there is a formal system to be followed, both in the written as well as spoken aspects. Communicate clearly or precisely is what matters in the workplace. Your ability to communicate verbally, your ability to communicate it in a written way. So you'll be replying to mails, you'll be replying to customer queries, you'll be replying to you'll be replying to your that is officers or supervisors, or then you'll be replying to subordinates even. So unless and until you have a very good ability to communicate clearly or precisely, you'll not be acknowledged or you'll not be appreciated. One of the another important skill that which students neglect while they study is the ability to write clearly. Or we may say that, okay, no efforts have been taken to improve the written skills, whatever be it. So this is not the time for this to discuss regarding that. But if you have very good written communication skills, you will be able to make a good impression. So not everybody has that skill, but if you're able to practice and acquire that skill to articulate yourself in very good English or written communication skill, you'll be appreciated and you'll be able to make an impact. Same is the case with, but more of written skills means you'll be appreciated more. Take it from me, from by the higher ups. So the crucial skill is the ability to communicate. So in that comes listening, then speaking clearly, writing appropriate writing for different audiences. It may be to your subordinates, it may be to your it may be to your different audiences like subordinates, it can be your super higher ups, or it can be the reporting person, then it may be to your own colleagues, peer group, or it may be to person outside the that is outside your office or inside the office, both that is intra personal communication and interpersonal communication, both it affects. Then uh, persuading persuading, that is also negotiating, for example, another aspect of communication. Then sharing of information, you want to invite somebody for a function at the office, so you share that information and invite people. It is essential for establishing relationship with clients, with customers. So it is also helpful for building networks, sharing information. Then so what is important here is language fluency is important, and another thing is asking the right questions, summarizing information for the customer. See, they may not know, or the client, they may not know how to, that is what they are with, what that is the information, or what that is, they will not be in a position to understand. But at that point of time, you should be in a position to summarize to them or paraphrase to them. Then asking the right kind of, they may have a lot of doubts, they may have a lot of concerns. So how would you solve that? By asking the right questions so that you get the right answers. So these are a few aspects, or the few maybe uses of communication which we deal with in the workplace. And above all, I would say the most important of all these is whatever I've listed out. There is the skill of listening, the ability to listen and ask questions. Please take it from me. Listening is the most crucial skill that we need to learn. That doesn't mean that we need to be silent. We need to express ourselves, but at the same time listen, understand, and then express. Listen, interpret, then evaluate, then express. So there is it's the crucial skill which is required for comprehension, understanding things, understanding facts. So build that. Nothing has been done to improve the skill of listening. Very rare. So relationships are built on the ability to listen to others. So listening is a crucial skill. So one of the most important skill which is in demand at the workplace or by that sought after by employees is the ability to communicate. Next comes the ability to work in teams, your interpersonal skills, your ability to work with others. So identifying the strengths and weaknesses of your team members, then working effectively with teams, then whatever be the diverse teams, for example. So if you move out of the country or even if you move out of your state, you will have to work with a different group of people. Diverse set of people. So that is another thing, team working skills. The next one is communication skills, your ability, interpersonal and team working skills. Then the next one is the ability to solve problems. Solving problems. So for that you need to have content. Whatever you have studied comes to place. So students have a belief that okay, the content is not required, or whatever you study is not required. They based is these, so soft skills is important. Of course, soft skills is important, but at the same time, unless this will become more visible only you have adequate content. Hello?
Ma'am, yeah, ma'am, the student is saying that right now only on the first slide it has been stuck.
Yes.
Two.
I was just giving an introduction.
Okay. I thought they are thinking their screen is.
Yeah, because that is not present in that. So I thought I would give them an introduction on this one because this would help them later also, and then start off with that. Thank you so much.
Continue with the class, ma'am.
Yeah. So problem solving skills, another important one. So I was just giving you an idea or a brief of the employability skills and then take you through the topic. So preparing for employment, don't worry. So then initiative and enterprise, the ability to take initiatives. Then another one is one thing which some of you would have thought of is the technical skills or your ICT ability, IT skills, initiative. Then yet another important skill is planning, skill of planning and organizing. So for example, how to attain or how to complete a project on time, how to maybe attain that particular standard, how do you use particular resources, including time, people, finance, materials, all those. Then risk management, contingency planning, everything comes under planning and organizing skills. And the two most, though it comes last, or I have put it last, they are also important. Your ability to continuously learn. So we have a belief that okay, when you start working, that is, you will stop studying or stop learning. Stop studying maybe, but stop learning. Be a continuous learner. Employers want you to be a continuous learner. So unless you learn continuously, unless you're a constant learner, you will not be able to survive in today's workplace. Update yourself with the latest trends. Update yourself with what is happening around you, the latest technologies, everything. So learning, your ability to learn. And apart from this, the crucial skill which we discussed yesterday is your ability to manage yourself or your self-management skills. So these are some of the broad skills which you need to understand, or they are in demand. They are in demand in the workplace, or these are the skills that employers are looking for in the workplace. So with that introduction or an introduction to employability skills, so let me take you through today's topic, which is preparing for employment. So transitioning, again, a part of change which we discussed yesterday. So moving from one phase to another, from being a student that is that's studying to a learner, and from studying to yet another going to be another learner, that is walking to the corporate world. So how would you manage that change? How to focus on developing important skills and competencies for the job market? That is what we discussed. So these are the broad skills which we discussed. So how do we tell the employers that you possess those skills or you have the required competency to work, right? And how to plan and apply for employment? So this is more or less connected to what you have covered in the previous days, but again, I'll take you through important aspects that are required, right? Don't worry. So transitioning from education to college, or sorry, from education from college to employment, or that means, see, understanding that, okay, your uh, that is the days when you were enjoying with your friends, all those things are over. So it is another kind of environment, a totally different environment where you need to be more responsible for your what you're doing. So the tasks are challenging, so it is very risky also, and there will be a kind of ownership also which is expected from you. So what are the that is build meaningful connections. So whatever you have achieved so far, so it said build meaningful links between your education and the work you plan to choose. That means whatever you are doing, there should be a close alignment from what you're doing currently doing to the work that you're doing. Otherwise you'll be a misfit there, right? So it should match the educational background. Whatever you have gained over a period of time should match the expectations of the workplace also. So at that point of time, what happens is you'll be able to work happily, you'll be able to express yourself, you'll be able to be part of the team, and there no that is grudges or complaining, whining, everything will be very less. Then what are the skills required? So apart from the knowledge, subject knowledge or domain knowledge, what skills are acquired? Skills needs to be acquired. That is what I told you in a nutshell. Then what are the personal attributes? Taking initiative, ability to solve problems, managing your time properly. So you find that, okay, in the workplace, some of your colleagues or peer group members are taking a longer lunch time. So you being a responsible individual can say, make them aware, okay, so your lunch break is only half an hour. So instead of half an hour, sometimes it extends to 1.5 hours. So making the other people know that, okay, that is responsible for their actions. So work on personal attributes like taking initiative, smartness or being effective. Then communication, time management, ability to work in teams, problem solving, self-management skills, etc. So what can be done? So before preparing your resume, what students, that is right from the beginning, that is I do not know where goal setting has been covered. So we set the goals, right? So you have taken this course, you're doing the course, and you have an aim or you have an objective. So by these many, that is by completing the course, you will be acquiring these skills. And how would I make use of these skills tomorrow or in the workplace so that I build a career out of it? So right from the start, one should have an understanding of one's skills. Again, there is no shortcut, just listing down. What are my strengths? So you do not say something which is attributed to others. Some say that it is my strength is my friend or friends. No. What are your personal strengths? My strength is my family. My strength is my religion or spirituality, you may say. But here, my strength is what your qualities are or what your attributes are. What is unique to you? What makes you special? What makes you the person you are? That defines your strength. So what are your strengths? Identify your strengths. Write it down. See, all whatever, there are so many templates available. But even you may go for some templates or you may just choose your own, find your own time, find your own space, sit silently and list down these things. If you really want to improve, the one solution is this one. Note down the things that you have in your mind, segregate it according to the order of importance, and you will realize where you are. And that will show you the path also. So a SWOT analysis is important. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What are the opportunities? And what are the threats? So tomorrow is challenges, threats or challenges. We call it a SWOT or SWOC. So what are the challenges involved? So if I have to get into this place or this company that is after 2 years or after 1 year, what are the challenges? Do they look for experience or do they take fresh candidates? That you need to know. Then age, is there any age limit? What is the educational qualification? What skills are do they want? Do they want any additional qualification? Is there any weightage for experienced candidates? Are they looking local people or are they looking people from outside? So all these, and how much are they willing to pay above all? So all these things needs to be considered. So what are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? So with this weakness, will I be able to work? So how can I change, or how can I make my weakness so that it becomes a strength? That is the point of writing. So if I have some weaknesses, how do I understand? So accept that these are my weaknesses. So I I can communicate in my mother tongue very fluently, but I cannot communicate in English. That is a weakness. So realizing that it is a weakness, how would you try to improve? I have very good spoken communication, very good, that is spoken skills. So that is verbal communication skills, but I'm unable to speak, or sorry, write, articulate, express myself in writing. My English is very poor. So what can be done? So if that is a weakness that you have identified, how would you improve upon it? You should find a way for that also. That is the purpose of writing it down. What are the opportunities available to you? So say with this background or with this qualification that I have, what opportunities should I look for? So I cannot look for something that looks for there may be a senior level post, but a realistic one. So mid-level, again, it is unrealistic, right? So I'm an inexperienced candidate. So how should I gain experience and make myself? So where will I be placed in another 2 to 3 years? Or maybe after 3 years, where shall I be? Or 5 years, where do I like to see myself? These are the things that you need to look for. How do I understand the opportunities? So am I interacting with adequate people or the right set of people to understand the opportunities that are available to you? So all these are platforms that you, so this platform, for example, is a wonderful one by which you get to know the opportunities. You can do a SWOT of yourself. Then what are the challenges? What challenges do you face? So it is lack of resources, or it is lack of time, it is lack of knowledge, it is lack of domain knowledge. So understand that what are the challenges. There are so many candidates applying. There are few posts. For some jobs, there are very limited posts. 1 or 2 posts will be there. But for some, there will be many posts and lot of candidates will be applying. So how would I compete? So is there a written test? How do if there is a written test means, how do I practice for that? What are the preparations that I need to do for that? All this. So do they have an interview, or is it a group discussion, or is it a case study analysis? All these things you should know. Then conduct a skill audit and identify where you're weak or feel challenged. What are the skills that employers demand? I told you. Those are the broad ones. So split it down and make it more specific or clear. What skills do I have? Conduct a skill audit and identify where you are weak or feel challenged. Plan a roadmap to plan how you'll be overcoming. This is what I told you, weaknesses. How should I overcome those weaknesses so that it can be turned into positive ones or strengths? That is what the basic thing that you need to do. So so identify the vertical. So since you're doing this course, okay, where will I work? What is the minimum what are the minimum qualifications? So do I have the minimum qualification, basic educational qualification for that particular job? So which are the kind of what avenues or a kind of industry that require these people meeting relevant people? That is what I told you, interacting with people, doing internships, then doing short term projects, researching. So the best thing is people who have completed the course, who are freshers like you, or who are just experienced for 1 year. Ask them. Then you ask your seniors, then you ask your teachers, then you ask your peer group, then Google it. So right now when you configure, that is, Google it and go to YouTube, what you'll have plenty of videos that may be required for you, that are relevant for you and irrelevant also. So as you do not have any experience, you do not know how to segregate this or which one to use, what to use, when to use, you may not know. So the right thing is talk to people who are experienced in this field, get advice, get suggestions from them, and then go to these sites which can supply with or supply you with additional information. Not in the beginning. That is my suggestion. So so it is up to you to decide on that. Then listing. So here, what are the specifics? So I find that, okay, after having I had studied these many years, that my knowledge in one particular area is very less. So I need to improve upon that particular one. So maybe I would have scored less for that during my graduation. I would have scored. So how would I compensate? Maybe I prefer to do an add-on course and that, and then compensate for my lost marks. So that certification by an online certification I can do, or it can be sometimes it may be an internship which I'd like to do. Sometime it may be a project which I take up with part of a company. That also is a valid one, worthy one. So there are different opportunities. So it may be some paper presentations which I did. It may be some maybe seminar that I took on a particular topic, which was appreciated. It may be a publication that you did. All this. So there are different ways by which students get opportunities. So explore that. Explore that. So you assisted one of your teachers and you came up with something. You did a research on it and you came up with a relevant or valid suggestions. So different ways by which you can improve upon what you have learned. You've either your domain specific knowledge or as well as your skill element. All these are available. So you need to explore and identify what is required for you. Then preparing a roadmap for, okay, so how long, so how many months or how many weeks are left for me to apply for a job? So am I doing the right summer jobs, for example? Then certifications, I told you. Besides the course of study, okay, so this is the graduation which I did, but apart from that, I have done value-added courses from these leading university on my area or the leading areas. So definitely, without looking into whether you have, maybe you would have that is lost marks or less marks, but the other side would compensate for that, your certifications, all those things. So then again, professional references. So if people can if people can refer you, that also would be good. So while doing internships, the company can closely monitor your performance and they can recommend you for other opportunities. That is why people always recommend for, or they always entertain students working. Internship, getting an internship. It can be paid or it can be unpaid, whatever it is. Then improving your general knowledge on a regular basis. So understand how, so am I in a position to relate things to what is happening in the current industry? Am I aware of industry trends? Am I aware of the latest happenings in the industry, or latest terminologies that they use, latest people or people who are prominent in the industry? All these things you need to be familiar with. That is important. Then what is important? The next one is the CV. So I understand that you have already started preparing your CV. So what are the things which you add into your CV? So the job requires certain skills, right? Or so the employer looks for certain skills. So at least you may not have all the skills listed down in your CV, but when you put your CV itself, when you frame your CV, draft your CV itself, the career objective tells your goal, or it speaks about your objective, what you want to achieve, or where you like to see yourself. So that shows your goal, that shows your orientation for doing something or to be part of that company or organization. So, the following are the selection rounds. So the first round is, okay, you apply for a job. So you apply for the job through your CV. So you don't go there. You apply through your CV. You send an online CV. They go by certain criteria. So these days they have this ATS, or the automated tracking system, by which they have these key skills being recorded, and they look for those particular skills. If your skill CV has those skills, they will segregate it, or they will the chances of getting eliminated or going to the waste bin is less. And so, do I have those skills being listed out? So there are skills, there are certain skills which are in demand with respect to a job that you, or a post that you apply for. So do you have that required skill sets? So when they look for, they segregate the CV based on these skills. So machines segregate, because for one post or two posts they get thousands of CVs. So the machine scans these CVs and they pick it for the right and relevant skills, and your CV gets your CV gets selected, so that you'll be called for an interview or the next process. So once shortlisted, you may have to appear for it can be an online aptitude test, or which is basically an elimination. So it tests your ability, the verbal ability, your quantitative aptitude, logical reasoning, and data interpretation skills. So you may wonder, okay, why they would ask you. So it is relevant. No. These standardized tests, of course, it can measure your IQ, it can measure your EQ, it is capable to measure your verbal skills, it is capable to measure your mathematical skills and logical skills. Some companies even ask for current news awareness. That's also there. I do not know, but still. So, there are many students saying that, for example, they apply for bank jobs and they do have a test. So it is not simply that you are doing a few tests and passing over. The test, the test is a skill that is, it tests your underlying skills. You may not know. Even the verbal, see, even by doing a test of English language, one can, as well as logical reasoning, one will be able to gauge your level of thinking. I do not know how many of you know about this, but it is a matter, or it is a test of your critical thinking also. So these days, foreign standardized tests are being conducted like that. So successful, then, so I understand that, okay, so adequate preparation for those tests are also required. So once those preparations are done, you move on to the next level, right? So they will be called for a group, you will be called for a group discussion, or maybe an interview. So it is, so companies try to eliminate when there are more number of candidates, they resort to different ways of eliminating. It can be a written test, it can be a group discussion, it can be a case study analysis. So case study analysis, it can be one to one, that is you will be given that it's sometimes a written case analysis. So you'll be given a case and you'll present a written analysis of the case. Sometimes it will be a group case analysis. So your ability to discuss in groups, your ability to come out with information, the right information, your ability to connect to the content that you have learned. Case study is a very good test of your domain skills. So they will be able to know how far, how much your that is your ability to that is your domain specific skills, your content will be gauged there if it is case study. So there are different processes by which candidates are eliminated, and then you go to the group discussion or finally the interview. So the interview, so you come after a series of process like this. Then you go to the final round of interview. So what is being tested? You'll say, okay, there'll be, you spend only 10 minutes there, 15 minutes there, 20 minutes there, or sometimes 25. How will they be able to gauge the student or a candidate in a matter of 25 minutes? No. But all these processes, all these processes would have helped them to gauge also. So if we have done an internship, they will be able to know more about it. So the answers that you give during, so they try to check whether whatever you have mentioned in your CV is correct, right? About your skills, about your knowledge, about your extracurricular activities, all that you have done. So they have only your CV, and when you come to the interview, it is actually a culmination. So they try to judge or they try to gauge who you are. That's the interview. And moving on to the next one. So what are the aspects that you need to have in your CV? So anyway, I think you've been given a detailed session on your resume writing, right? CV. So it should have a personal objective. One thing is that it should be in a very good format. So it is not that, okay, embellishing your CV with so many colors, font, all those things. You can do it, but that is only secondary. So what matters is the content within the CV. What is my career objective? Is it a vague one, or a career objective that specifies my goal, or that really talks about my objective, my mission? Does it speak about my short-term mission or long-term goals? That is what your CV is all about. So your career objective, your educational qualification, then your academic qualification, that is all that you have gained from your education. Then it can be your value added courses, it can be your internships, it can be the projects that you have done, it can be your work experience, right? It can be even your hobbies. So the hobby should match the job that you're doing. It can be the extracurricular activities, volunteering, the community activities that you have done. It can be the leadership initiatives that you have taken during your studies. It may be about your short course that you have done. So, it may be about your maybe the exhibition that you conducted. It may be about a seminar or a participated. It may be about a research study that you conducted. It may be about a project that you have conducted. So everything should reflect, or it should find a place in your CV and it gets highlighted there. So it's a reflection of your skill. So all you will note down, okay, you have conducted that is financial inclusion awareness or financial inclusion training for some rural people, for 350 farmers. So that finds a place there. right? So from that, the interviewer, the whoever interviews you will be able to know, okay, this is what he has done. So he knows about the importance of financial inclusion. And moreover, he has taken the initiative to conduct this at a far off place. So he would have coordinated this and he would have presented that. So how did he? So you would have done some preparations on that. So you are aware of that topic too. So all this is, see, this is what is required. So it is a clear reflection of what you have done. Or it can be an internship. You did an internship on that is in such and such company. Or it can be a part-time work that you had taken. It can be any project that you have done. It can be, see, sometimes these days students get associated with companies or organizations and they do projects for the companies. That is also a good work. So there are many ways by which you expand or build add upon your skills. So interviewers look for these skills. So they do not want a fresher, but at the same time, when while interviewing, they would like to know whether you are capable of learning, right? So if you that is, are you a person who is always learning or comfortable learning or adapting to changes? This is what they would like to know. And you'll be appreciated for these skills also. Then drafting your CV, very neat, systematic. It should be an error-free one. It should be very precise, clear. It should speak about you. Use the fonts that has been prescribed 10 to 12 Times New Roman. Then mention educational and professional details in the reverse order. That is reverse order in the sense that is in the descending order, not in the ascending order. That is from the reverse chronological order, from means that is from the latest, the current one to the uh, earlier ones. That is how whatever you mention in your CV, whether it is your education qualification or your work experience or the projects that you have done, whatever or the awards that you have received, start from the latest to the oldest one. So that is how then use action words. So presented paper or published paper on, conducted a training program for. So those are actionable words. It is not merely attended training program, participated in a training program on soft skills for 5 days, and what did you do? And that is participated in a uh, participated in a project, participated in a group project, or undertook a project and conducted a training for farmers, or it may be women on micro savings. What are the type of action words that you put in your CV that matters a lot? Conducted training, then conducted a skill workshop, then researched, then surveyed, uh, then uh, then administered a questionnaire and conducted a study. Administered a questionnaire and conducted a study on uh, that is saving habits of women in the age group of 50 to 60 or 50 to 70, like that. Then do not overstate your achievements. Use the language, business language. That is formal language. Use a language which is very formal. Then do not overstate. That is be minimal. Then edit and profit. So whenever you put, say that these days so many things are available. That is the templates are available. Then you get even the content. So when there are times when students don't, that is they copy the material and even fail to change the address even. To that extent also they are so negligent of these things. So it is not copying and pasting everything as it is such, but it is that is trying to prove who you that is yourself, that is trying to prove yourself, that is see you, that is what is the picture that you're conveying about yourself. So before you are called for an interview, it is this CV or the resume CV that the interviewer sees. So am I presenting a clear picture? Even the photograph that is being pasted on your email address, your Facebook ID, or your other IDs, social media page, or your LinkedIn ID, whatever be it. So let it be professional. So instead of giving your Facebook ID, give your LinkedIn ID, which is professional. So do not paste a casual photograph. Let it be a formal photograph, a professional looking photograph. So when we deal about that, there are so many other aspects also which I should be focusing on. Whereas because so that I'll have to deviate from the topic. So right now I'm not going into that detail into that. So what needs to be done here is presenting your CV in the correct manner. That is, do not forge your CV. Be sincere. Whatever you present in your CV, it should reflect who you are, because it will be tested when you go for the interview. Go for the interview. So if you're not able to present yourself completely, you will be caught. So you'll be creating a sorry figure. So that should not happen. So how would you present yourself in your CV? That matters. You be a professional always. No forging of information. No forging of information at all. So when you present your CV, that is, just see whether everything is in order. So if you want to experience, that is, there may be some of you with work experience. So those with work experience can highlight the work experience first. But those with others, it can be your education qualification. Then comes your skills. So if you have any achievements, maybe you have represented your college, your high secondary. During your high secondary, maybe you have represented your school or district or even state or nationwide in some sport. That is an achievement, but it is not something which you received in while you were in your 4th grade or 3rd grade. For memory testing or for running a race or for some other matter. That doesn't count. So after 10th or from 10th grade onwards, whatever you did finds a place in your CV. Then if you have done an internship, that is fine. If you have done some value added programs, that is fine. If you have received any awards or honors, that again is fine. So everything should be listed according to that year, and then what is the topic, or okay, you received an award, or you won the first prize for what is that event, when was it, what year was it, what was the competition, or you received a gold medal, or you received or you were the school topper, when was that. It is not that you are in your 2nd grade or 3rd grade, you are school topper for the 10th grade or high secondary. That is important. So which year, then what is the title, if you have received any title, that is also important. Then you were a volunteer for such and such activity, or for a blood donation camp, and you received appreciation from the minister, or you received appreciation from the maybe the 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 local, that is officials. That is important. So you conduct a program that you conducted. So what is the name of the program that you conducted, how many attendees were there, all those can be mentioned. So be specific while expressing yourself in the CV. That is what is important. And then articulate everything during the interview. So study your CV carefully. So you present one thing in your CV and you totally are presenting contrary to what is being presented in your CV, means again that will not match, or that again maybe you'll be losing something there. your credibility. You'll be losing your own credibility there. So do not make those kind of silly errors. Be very honest while presenting. So when you say communication, do not, and another thing is that do not put communication in your CV. So regarding your skills, some students put okay communication skills. So if you put communication skills and when you're before the interview and if you're not able to articulate properly, again, that's that may so that is incongruent to what you say. So do not put CV. There are communication skills in your CV. Another thing is maybe other skills. What other skills can you put? Your that is your interpersonal skills, your ability to listen, then your ability to solve a problem. So whatever skills that you have mentioned, you should have an example to substantiate it. Elaborate your okay. What are the skills that you possess? So elaborate that from an example, not just listing out that I possess this or I have this skill. No, nothing. It will not work at all. But if you are in a position that if you say that, okay, while I was in my second year, we conducted a program or we did a project or we did a seminar on, we did a national seminar or we did an international seminar on this finance or on this topic. So we had speakers from this one was a famous that is this was a lead speaker, give the name of the person. Then we had 350 attendees or we had 450 attendees from across India or and we had foreign delegates too. And the outcome was it. What was the outcome of this? So if you put that, if you're able to elaborate like that, so it showcases or it brings out the skills that you have. See, these are all. This is what is important. So that is understand. That is when you draft your CV, let it be a good CV. Try to understand the pains of drafting your CV. Understand the pains of drafting your CV, what is there in your CV, and then reciprocate or what is during that is what is there in your CV during the time of interview. That is what it should be. That is what your objective should be. So you should have adequate copies of your CVs, then adequate photographs. Photographs also, again, I iterate, it is a professional photograph. Professional, that is a well-groomed one. Then you should be wearing a comfortable dress, the dress that you're comfortable in. Maybe the attire that you choose for your interview should be comfortable in. So the shoes, all those as formal dressing etiquette should be followed and be prepared be prepared. Without practice or without preparation, do not attend the interview. Be prepared, carry your own pen, carry your own materials before that is for the interview. Then study your CV very well and then prepare. Then interview etiquette should be followed. That is how to get into the room, then greet the interviewers, then how do you sit, then where do you place your hands, everything should be followed. So you place your hands on your lap. Then maybe later, initially it is better not to place your hands on the table. Then if you have then all the credentials or all the details, that is it can be your experience, certificates, all those things should be that is carried in your file. So you should have that is a nice file also with all the details, with all the certificates, then orderly placed in the file with adequate number of that is when if they ask you, you should be enough to that is you should you should be able to show that. They might sometimes may ask you to show a certificate. So that is even if your verification is over, sometimes during the interview, maybe they would like to see a particular kind of that is a certificate that you have gained So interested or out of curiosity, they may ask. So at that time, so it would be if you have placed that in order, you should be able to show that also. So let it be ordered or arranged in a proper way so that you do not create confusion. Then sometimes during an interview, they may ask you to, you initially, of course, whoever be it, you'll feel kind of nervousness. So it is only when you are relaxed, that is maybe after the one or two questions, three questions, that you can attend, and that is you'll be confident of answering the questions. Right. So if you're really good and if you're confident, you can drive the questions. So it is based on your answers that the interviewer, I'll always remember that the kind of answers that you give help them to or enable them to pose the right kind of questions. So it is not that they decide. You decide the kind of questions depending on the answers. So if you are nervous, if you fumble, if you are not sure of yourself, obviously they will task you with so many questions. They will confuse you with so many questions. Whereas, on the other hand, if you're confident of presenting yourself, if you're confident of what you have done, if you're sure of what you have achieved, if you're very stable, then you'll be able to win. So that rarely happens. So it happens through practice only. Practice. So a lot of practice. So how would you present each and every kind of question? What should you present first? All these. Then the most crucial thing is the self-introduction. A lot of things. So if you want to impress the audience, the interviewers, it is that is have a very good self-introduction. So what do I introduce? Why did you take up this course? No, why do you want to be in this company? Why do you want to do this job? So people, students often say that I'm passionate in doing this job. I'm passionate in working for this company. What makes you say that you are passionate? How would you show your passion? So when you say that, okay, you are passionate about working in a company, okay, come on, tell us the name of our CEO. How many branches do we have? Where is the headquarters? When was this company founded? You say you're passionate and you do not know answers to these questions. So the proper research was not done. Again, there is mismatch. So these things should not happen while you are being interviewed. Always remember that. So try to maintain a proper body language, maintain eye contact, then answer the questions. So it is something, see, it does not come over a day or two. It is something which you practice. All this. So one by one. So through self-reflection. What are the skills? Am I confident of myself? So if you are weak at something, do not bring that point towards them. Rather than highlight your strengths. Highlight that particular quality that you are good at. That is what is required. So it is something which you need to train yourself, rehearse, practice. There are students who write because see some there is some felt that okay they may not be able to get the right the kind of words when they speak, may not be fluent. But they know that they are genuinely that they have those skills. So there are students who used to write the interview question and answers. Typical FAQs, interview FAQs are there. Those kind of questions prepare and then write. Then every time they attend an interview, they used to reframe or rephrase this depending on the experience there, and that's gain confidence. And they are working in companies. So that is based off of my experience that I'm saying. So that's possible, provided the work, that is the homework, should be done on this side. So we cannot see, you cannot get a job very easily. You need to grab the opportunity. But how would you grab smart? By being smart, by working smart and hard work. That is that of course matters. Then speaking with content. speaking with content. So you should know, okay, why did you choose this course? Why did you choose this place? Why did you choose this organization? Why should we hire you? Where do you like to see yourself after 5 years? Where do you like to see yourself after 3 years? So you should have, why do you say that you are a responsible person? What makes you say that you are a creative person? I put in my CV that I'm very creative. I put in my CV that I'm a logical thinking person. What is my hobby? Reading newspapers. When did you read your newspaper? Who is this or who is this person? You do not know. You will not be able to recollect who that person is. When did you read the newspaper? Yesterday? No. Yesterday I was traveling for the interview. Day before yesterday? No. I was preparing for the interview. And when did you read last? Last month. Okay, tell us anything about that you know, remember, recollect from the previous month. No idea. This is what happens. So whatever you say with real. Uh, that is be genuine, sincerity, be honest while expressing things about yourself. You can lie so many things about others, so many things about what is happening around you, but not about yourself. You'll be caught. Please understand that. And there are different ways by which to then your body language will be assessed. How you sit, how you use your language, how you look at the interviews, the eye contact that you maintain, the way that you use your gestures openly, everything can be assessed during the time of interview. And by that they make a judgment of yourself also. All these are important. Sometimes they ask you to, but okay, you are very good at problem solving, you may say. They give you a small problem and they ask you to solve. You get a notepad and a pencil and you are supposed to solve that also. Yes, this is something which happens even now, not a thing of the past. There are so many ways by which we can assess a candidate. Then you mentioned that you are very good at adapting yourself. I'm an adaptable person. I'm an adaptable in that is I quickly adapt to situations. Okay, we try to post you in this place. Are you willing to move? No, I cannot leave my local place. I have my friends there. I have my parents there. I have my family there. There are candidates who say that also. So this is not an exaggeration at all. This is not an exaggeration at all. So there are so many things before applying and during the time of interview. So if we always make when there is study yourself and then start working on this one, because this is very critical. So we just had a look at what are the skills that the employers look for, your ability to communication being most important, and your problem solving skills, your interpersonal skills, working in teams, then ability to learn and self management skills, though that is, they are also equally important. Always present a picture or project a picture that you are a person who is willing to learn, your ability to learn, understand things, be a continuous learner. Companies appreciate those people very much. So with that, we come to the end of the first topic, which is employability skills. That is end of unit 2. So let's move on to the next one. So if you have any questions, you can ask, or else let me take you to the next set of next presentation, which is, or the next topic. Hope my screen is visible now. So the topic is communication at the workplace. Are you able to see? Hope the slide is visible now. So the next topic being communication at the workplace. So all these years, okay, you were a student, right? A learner who is that is you had your own responsibility as a student. So what do you understand or what do you need to know about the workplace? Uh, so in this unit, I'll be taking you through these aspects, namely the type of communication that exists within the organization. So communication is crucial, very crucial in an organization. Why do we say that? Okay, it is very crucial. So complex, that is, it is very intricate because it is something which that is something beyond that we know. Maybe there are certain standards, there's certain levels uh, that exist in organizations. So the understanding the importance and complexity of workplace communication. Then why employers greatly value communicative competence, the ability to that is communicate clearly. It's a competence, it's a skill, or it is an ability. So why do employers value this skill? So as I told you, again reiterating the importance of communication, that is, you have grammar, you have words, you use adequate words, vocabulary, or domain specific words, syntax. Syntax means ordering of sentences, sentence structures, and grammar to put your ideas across. So the verbal inputs, am I using the correct verbal input to express my thoughts? So when the inputs are correct, it becomes your whatever you communicate becomes very effective. Yeah, these are the building blocks or the functional aspects of language, namely the vocabulary, the words that you use or the jargons that you use, the syntax, how this that is how you structure the sentences. There should be a subject, there should be a verb, and there should be an object when you frame sentences. So then is the subject there is subject verb agreement. Does the verb agree to the subject in number? That is another aspect. That is proper having proper use of grammar. So usages, proper usages, that is also important. So all this makes your communication most effective in the workplace. So communication, on the other hand, that is, it encompasses all these verbal aspects along with some other critical inputs called non-verbal skills also. There are verbal skills, and apart from those things which we are ignorant of or which we hardly that is which we sometimes we do not bother about, that also matters. So they are the non-verbal aspects. So words communicate. Words are important to communicate. Again, apart from words, there are your actions also communicate. So those actions that are devoid of words. So your actions. It can be a smile, it can be a frown, it can be a raising of your eyebrow, it can be the wink of an eye, it can be it can be a frown, it can be maybe scratching your head. It can be scratching your neck. It can be tapping your feet. It can be fidgeting with the things that you have in your hand. All this communicates. You do not know. right? So non-verbal, equally important is understanding of the non-verbal aspects of communication too. So it is not verbal skills alone. It is so in order to understand workplace communication, a knowledge of non-verbal skills is also required. That is what we are going to deal with. So that is through our so nonverbal skills means what we communicate through our body language, the gestures in particular. What gestures do we use? For example, you shake your hand. When friends meet, they shake their hands, they hug. So they hug each other. They shake your hands. So your boss shakes hands with you. Your friend shakes hands with you. They are different, right? That is the way you offer your hand. When your friend offer, that is friend, you offers his hand, you will offer your hand very easily without any hesitation. But when your boss offers your hand, you offer your hand with hesitation. So that is also an aspect of nonverbal skills. So the aspect of communicating with your body language, especially the gesture, you are making a presentation, you are seated before the interview board. How would you sit? With your shoulders slouching? With your eyes looking at the ceiling or making sideward glance? Or you looking directly into the eyes of the person or the questioner? Or you stare into the eyes of the person? You tap your finger on the table? See, all these are things which you need to know. So the interview, so there is one particular area called interview etiquette itself. So nonverbal communication is stage one, to communicate by following the acceptable norms of behavior and etiquette in the context of communication in order to generate the desired message. So we need to so in order to bring about the desired message, we communicate in a non-verbal way. So whatever we communicate through words is being supported by our non-verbal communication also, but we are not aware of it. So it is this aspect which you need to understand, or which you need to learn more about, especially while attending interviews and while you start working. So one needs to be pleasant, one needs to be very cordial and effective while communicating. So maintain eye contact. You should not be show a sign of diffidence. It should always be a sign of that is, walk with confidence, speak with confidence, look into the eyes of the person and speak, smile, make eye contact. That is important. Then without any shivering, interact with people. So one, you need to be pleasant, cordial, and effective while communicating. So understand. So try to understand how that is, observe how people behave or respond to in certain situations, so that you'll be able to know. So observation is a skill which will help you to understand how your non-verbal skill works, right? So by this, see, even with your with non-verbal skills, you can persuade people. So show that you are courteous enough. You can convince people tactfully, resolve conflicts, everything through this use of body language or non-verbal skills. But it is along with words. So both words coupled with body language, because it conveys, your body language communicates a lot. Even silence communicates. So before moving on to the aspects of how communication exists within organization, let us have a look at communication at workplace. That is maybe moving on to the different aspects of body language and all non-verbal skills. Just quickly glance through the types of communication that are present in an organization. So you have internal communication and you have external communication. Internal communication means those communication within happens within the organization. That is internal. That is, you have an invitation or you have a meeting. So the manager calls for a meeting. So that is internal communication. So you are moving your building from one place to, or your branch is moved from one building to another. You're moving to another place. Maybe you have hired a, or you have your own building, or you have a hired a that is more spacious building. So you're moving the branch to that particular place. So in order to make that is let your customers know that you're moving, you write a letter to them. And it is the building inauguration, so you want customers also to be present, or your clients also to be present. You may write an invitation for them, or you make an invitation for them. That is an external communication. So the annual turnover or the annual profit, everything has to be communicated to the consumers as well. So that is you send a report to them, or you send a mail to them. That is an external communication. So you have internal communication as well as external communication. And internal communication, you have both formal and informal. So external, whatever you communicate to the organization that is outside the organization is always formal. You cannot be informal. But the reason is it is always a record. So I'll tell you why this is important in tomorrow's class. So now I'll be covering why communication is important at workplace. So it is important at workplace due to these reasons. That is formal, that is in organizations, the internal communication exists in the form of both formal and informal ways. So in informal ways means, okay, there is there is there is an annual sports meet, and you are inviting the members, or you are appreciating the members for achieving the target, or um, uh, somebody is retiring the next month. So that is you have called for a meeting. So that is informal. Whereas there is the annual general body meeting coming up. So for that, the manager of the firm has to attend the meeting. So what all things that he requires from the other members or other employees, maybe department heads, for that he calls for a meeting. So that is an internal one, which is more formal, and the other one is informal. So both these types of interactions, meetings, or communication takes place within the organization. And always remember there is an hierarchy. Hierarchy means order, or there is a level by which people behave in an organization according to the roles and responsibilities that they have. So it can be the senior manager or the chief manager, then manager, and then the executive, then the other staff. So so that is for that, so that the information passes from one person to another. So if there is a formal order by which information flows, we can make sure that it has reached, there is no communication gap between the members. So people understand that is everything flows according to that, and everything is transparent also. So hierarchy, so it moves from one person to another, like that it goes, so that finally it is being approved. Or you want to purchase something for the for the office, so for that you place an order, so it has to be approved. So the clerk or the executive writes the mail, or get that is asking for the permission to buy something, buy a particular thing, maybe a table or a chair, or maybe you want a cooler. So they place the order. So before placing the order, maybe whatever the need is or the demand is, it has to be written and it has to be sanctioned by the authority. So the manager should know. So it passes through the supervisor. The supervisor passes it out to the commissioner, or president or manager or chief manager, whoever is the signing authority, and you get the reply back, or you get the reply. So there is a process. So for every organization, this kind of hierarchy exists, and the process channel, there is an open communication channel also. So as employees, it is expected that we are expected to follow this channel of communication. right, which exists within the organization, and always be transparent. So every employee is expected to follow the protocol in letter and spirit. So it can be the email communication, changing in reporting line, the agenda of a meeting sent over as an attachment, then a circular communicating the date and time of a performance review. uh, all this has to be communicated in the proper channel itself. So there is formal as well as informal communication. So obviously, see, when we say formal, there is another channel or there is another means of communication that exists in the informal way also. That also we need to know. So informal information passed on informally. So the example is, so we call it as grapevine communication. And before that, okay, let me just take you through another. So workplace, why do we say that workplace communication is important? And that is, see, when failure happens or something happens, something goes wrong, or something is ineffective, what happens? People brainstorm. So that may be due to, or the reason for that is informal or poor communication. So failures, for failure, the main reason for failures in organization is poor internal communication. So people are not, the employees are not aware of what is happening within the organization. So that is an internal failure. So lack of appropriate communication. So that is employees, that is with regard to employees, the company, that is, it can be, there is miscommunication with regard to important events or important announcements or important news. Then another thing which is which that is which makes that is why we say that effective communication is important, is because um, in order to take people together, so people should come together and work together. So that is, they are expected to be that is we expect that employees are expected to be collaborative. So if there is no, if there is miscommunication, people won't come together. There is lack of collaboration. Then another thing is lack of empathy, empathetic communication, or that is when the channel of communication becomes more formal. It that is, there is lack of so people, that is more formal. So formal means it has got a structure, a format of its own. So when that lack of communication becomes for informal, people, there is lack of understanding, and that also will not work, or that communication will not be effective. So workplace communication, it exists in different ways, in the form of emails, in the form of group meeting, brainstorming sessions are there sometimes. Then project discussions are there, task discussions are there, phone calls are there, instant messaging is also there. Then presentations, all these are that is important in organization and for employees. And that is, it is important because for employees to understand these roles, that is, they will also understand the roles and responsibilities from this communication. And it is important for the business success also. So how to make it effective is, people communicate very openly, whether it is face-to-face communication, or whether it is digital communication or remote communication. So so the platform that one should use is also should be that is, people should be familiar with that. It should be transparent, and open communication channel should exist. right? So it happens. That is what so communication happens face to face or over the telephone or remote, even remotely. So how do we understand that? And as I told you, the most informal method of communication which exists in an organization is grapevine communication. One example is rumor, the other example is gossip. So there is no maybe structure, or there is no format for this kind of communication, and there is no way to control this also unless the person controls himself or herself. So informal communication exists in different ways, and one such way is the grapevine communication, which includes the form of rumors, gossips, unverified information. That is the source of which nobody knows the source from which where it comes, but it is regarded to be a rich source of information for the employees, and at the same time you should be very careful in taking in those things, taking in rumors or accepting these rumors in the workplace. So information flows in different channels. So that is there is vertical, that is from top to bottom. Then lateral flow of communication is there. That is, or the horizontal flow of communication, and the diagonal flow of communication. So the direction of flow varies, but very rarely do communication, that is, it always flows from upward to downward. So downward to upward is very less. The frequency or the regularity by which you have this flow of communication from top to bottom is quick, and it is very frequent, whereas on the other way it is very less compared to the downward flow of communication. So different levels of communications are there: upward flow, downward flow. So that is, but the downward flow is, that is from the management to the staff. Maybe important decision, policy matters, everything is being communicated. Then upward flow is, okay, maybe target achievement, performance appraisal, then leave, giving feedback, everything is sent upward also. So that is vertical communication. Vertical communication, that is there are two types: vertical communication, that is upward flow, and downward flow. Then comes the directional flow. The second one is the downward communication. So examples are there, that is top management, middle management, low management, and executives. As I told you, upward communication is, okay, workers, they do their work, and it is being communicated to the product supervisor, production supervisor. Supervisor communicates to the assistant production manager, and the assistant manager to the production manager. So that's an example. Another one is lateral communication, that is sideways, or we call it as horizontal also. Lateral, so they across the same level, that is peer group communication. So across the same level of command. So managers communicate, how managers communicate with managers of different departments, supervisors of different departments, production managers of different departments communicate. So that is level of information across the same level of command. So the focus on the horizontal levels of management as opposed to the hierarchical one. Hierarchical one means it is always from bottom to top, as well as from top to bottom. But this one is lateral, across the management, or horizontal, we can call it. So team lead to from one department to another department, team member A to team member B from another department. That is a lateral communication. Then you have the diagonal communication. Diagonal communication involves interaction between people across different levels and roles on a need basis. So that is, it depends on the span of a project. Or you have to complete a project within 1 week, or 20 days, or 2 weeks. So there is an equal flow of communication that is diagonal on all sides. So because otherwise you cannot ensure the success or the completion of that project also. So hence in those occasions it is necessary that communication happens laterally also, sorry, diagonal. But that is people with different roles, people with different levels on a need basis, how communication happens. So we have an example also here, that is top management. Project lead is there, project lead, top management, so general manager, manager sales and manager finance, then the regional manager, branch manager, everybody. So general manager operations communicates to regional manager, then manager finance may communicate to, or sales manager may communicate to finance manager or branch manager too. It depends. So diagonal communication to ensure the successful completion of a project or to a task, it is necessary. So the levels of communication. So from the, so understand, so as you start working, it is necessary that how communication or how the channel of communication or how communication flows within the organization, that you need to know that. The flow of communication within an organization. It is important that you know the flow of communication, so that you're also familiar with the that is how. So if you want to communicate, you should know. Okay, this is the level. So if you say something, if you want to communicate, or if you want to, that is you are going on leave. So you need to know. Okay, which channel should I use and how would I? So whom should I interact with, or whom should I send the mail to? Is it to the PRO, or is it to the admin officer, or is it to the manager who is the sanctioning authority? So the hierarchy and the communication channel should be familiar to you. So nonverbal communication comprises. So so whatever we have completed so far with is regard to the channels flow of communication present within the organization. Then again, coming back to the importance of nonverbal communication. So why do we attribute a lot of importance to nonverbal communication? Why there is so much of importance to nonverbal communication? So nonverbal communication comprises of unspoken clues, which gives the receiver of the communication true insights into the communicator's character and personality. So be sure to use the right kind of body language. Without you being aware of it, you'll be able to, that is you have a pain in your neck, you have a headache. Okay, just let's take this example. I ask you something, so you forget the name, but you have that in your mind. So what will you do? You just tap your head sometimes to try to recollect, right? So sometimes to that is you just tap on your head or forehead to try to recollect. You feel bored. What do? You yawn. You yawn. You are not interested. What do? You're relaxed and you lean back onto the chair or onto the seat that you're sitting. You become interested in speaking, or you are interested to listen. You move forward. Your eyes are very eager to listen. You are eager to know. You are very attentive. So you move forward. Your hand, you use open gestures. You are irritated. You feel frustrated. You do not look into the eyes of the person. You look sideways. That shows boredom. You are lying. That is, you have your pen or you have your pencil in your mouth. You fidget with your keychain or you fidget with your pen again. So that shows a sign of boredom. You tap your fingers, sorry, you tap onto the table. You tap your legs, you shake your legs constantly. That shows your lack of interest. So your body language tells us or communicates what you're thinking, what you're thinking. It even speaks about your attitude. Body language speaks about the attitude that you have. So where there are various forms by which we understand this. One is kinesics, how the body language works. Kinesics. The gestures that you use, the eye contact, the way you walk. Do you drag your steps, or do you keep bold steps? Uh, then you drag your do you have the habit of dragging your steps? That shows that you're lethargic. You're not interested. That shows that lack of energy. Whereas if you keep your shoulders straight and keep bold steps, that shows that you are interested. A pleasant face, eyes shining, interested eyes. Whereas if you frown, nobody would be entertained to speak to you. No one would be willing to speak to you. So body language matters a lot. Okay, your kinesics. Kinesics as body language is called kinesics. Then language of space. So when you talk to strangers, you keep a distance. You are not close to them. But when you are very close to your friends, what happens? You cover their, or you try to encroach into their, that is, you even try to invade their personal space, right? So depending on the relationships that we have with people, the space also communicates. How we use space also communicates, which is known as proxemics. So if you are in a close relationship with a person, that is, you're very close to that person, that is, the distance between the two people will be very less. But if you are very strange, if you are talking to a stranger, if you do not know the person, if you that is, you maintain a particular distance. So what is the distance? You're talking to your manager, what is the distance that you maintain? You're talking to your father, what is the distance that you maintain? If you're talking to your mother, you're talking to your friend, you're talking to your brother. So proxemics also matters, the space, the language of space. The third one is language of touch. Mm. So depending on the kind of intimacy and the relationship that you have, the touch that you have, sometimes you pat a person's back, you shake hands, uh, you sometimes. So how you shake hands also matter. It may be um, a limp handshake. So if you're very confident of the relationship, you give a firm handshake. Then the language of time, which is known as chronemics. Paralanguage, namely the language which you use through, or which is being expressed through tone, pitch, pronunciation, and volume of voice. So your energy, your enthusiasm to speak, everything is communicated through your volume. So if I'm not interested, if I find that audience are not interested, if I am not, speaker is not interested, what happens? The speaker uses a faint voice. There is no, it's like a monologue. There is no rate of change, or there is no intonation, proper intonation. Intonation means change in pitch variation. There is no proper stress. There is no proper rhythm in your speech, and the pronunciation, you hardly care for your pronunciation also. So tone, language, pitch, everything is part, another aspect of this non-verbal aspect of communication, which comes under the, or which falls under the category of paralanguage. Paralanguage. So though that language uh, which is not the use of words. So another form of language which expresses these aspects. So kinesics is refers to, as I told you, because we covered all this just for your information. So it's your the use of your gestures, the way you stand, the way you walk, open gestures mean the way you have your eye contact, place your eye contact, the posture, how you sit, how you talk, how you walk, how even one dresses, the colors that you use, how you chew, how you shake hands, how you carry yourself, how you express things. So it shows who the that is the real you. who you really are. That is what body language is all about, or kinesics. So if you're nervous, what happens? Your palms get, that is, your palms will be sweating. You excessive sweating. There is trembling. Your voice will tremble. Even your hand shakes. That is fidgeting, as I told you, stammering. So from these, we can say that the person is nervous. Then proxemics, the language of space. So it refers to the sense of maintaining an acceptable space between you and the one with whom you are speaking or you are interacting. So there are four spaces like that. So it is intimate. So why you are learning is that, so when you there is, do not, unless and until you're not familiar with, or you do not know the kind of relationship that you're not aware of the kind of relationship, do not move into the distances of others. So intimate space means the space that you have for your close people, maybe your family members and relatives or even friends. Personal space means the space that you have, or the physical space that you leave behind, or which reflects the space with the colleagues. Then social space means the space which you that is which helps you to navigate while you are working in society or in the social groups when you start working. So you attend a marriage. So there also with close friends, you do not have a distance, you do not maintain a distance, but with people whom you know also, it is in social functions also you try to maintain a distance. So that is the social space. And public spaces in impersonal. So when you go to a theater, when you go to a hospital, when you go to a bus stand or at the railway station, the space that you maintain impersonal interactions, uh, that is the personal, that is the space. Then that is the impersonal space. Then you have the haptics or touch. So it is a language of touch and it reveals a lot about you. So a child knows the value of touch, right? When it cries and it approaches the mother, approaches and carries the child, so he stops crying. So why does he do that? So he knows the language or the touch by his mother, the warmth of his mother. So that is, so where sometimes when we are nervous, what happens is your that is you that is you're nervous and you do not want to talk to, or you that is indulge in your conversation. The way you offer your hand for a handshake also will be very limp. If you're not confident, it will be a limp handshake. Sometimes it will be sweary, sometimes it will be a limp hand while shaking hands with a business visitor. So in those hands, in those times it will be better. That is, you wipe your palm and offer your hand. That is also important. So depending on the relationship, you can offer your hand for handshake. So always remember, if you are a subordinate should never offer your hand to a superior. Only a superior should uh, offer the hand to you, their hand to you. So then only you can shake hands with that person. So usually subordinates do not offer their hand. A super manager or a superman, there is a chief manager offers their hand and you shake that hands. Otherwise, you should not offer your hand. So that is the rule also. That is, it's part of the etiquette, handshake etiquette. So then, moving on, that is haptic is the language of touch. Mainly, You pat somebody on the back, you pat somebody on the shoulder. So that is also depending on the kind of it's a that is it is related to haptics or touch. Then the next one is chronemics, that is the language of time. So yesterday also I reminded you that is something which we do not emphasize upon, right? So are you habitually late for appointments, or are you punctual and conscious of other people's time? And so if you're conscious and that is if you're conscious of other people's time, that is you'll be more punctual. And that shows that okay, you value the other person's time, or you show regard for the other person's time also. So this is a key determinant for people to decide whether they wish to collaborate with you or not. So that is key determinant means in the sense that so it determines whether you that is if you are on time, it shows that okay, you value the other person's time also. Hence, it is a key determinant. So chronemics, the language of time, which is always important in relationship. Then the next one is paralanguage. That is, am I speaking with the right tone, the right stress, the right pitch? Pitch means intonation, the rising and falling of sound, speed, volume of voice, depending on whom I'm addressing and in what situation. So if you're tired, if you're monotonous, if you feel bored, what happens? Your voice also will be devoid of that kind of energy that you're an energy while speaking. So it will be a dull and monotonous voice, right? So and that itself um, will not. That itself that may not be. So people will be bored listening to the voice, your voice. So always, so that is why we use the different forms or different styles of speaking. So maintain that is depending on the context, you can change the pitch, volume of your speech. Then stress, you want to emphasize on certain things, so certain words. So again, you emphasize on the stress, you emphasize on the speed, you emphasize on the volume of voice, depending on who you are addressing and in what situation. So if you stick to a monotonous voice while speaking, you end up boring your audience. That is so some people have a good voice, so they attract the others also. So you won't be bored listening to their voices. There is a kind of liveliness in the voice. So there is an attractiveness in the voice. So they know they know when to emphasize these words, or where to make the stress rather than sounding blaring or monotonous. So the importance of parallel language also, the style, tone, pitch, variations, rhythm, speed, volume. So you're talking to a group, so if you speak with speed, okay, they will not be able to catch up with what you're saying. Then volume also. So less energy and lack of energy, that is the sound with which you speak, all this impacts the way you speak, or it is aspect of paralanguage. So that is make a note of these things. So understand that your language also, that is whatever your voice also communicate, that is what you need to understand. So when you talk to people, so sometimes if you're nervous, what happens, your voice doesn't come up, you talk very feeble. So that is what is so the importance of so people sometimes you will feel that your throat is being parched up. You may not have, so you feel like drinking water, uh, right? So that is all aspect of maybe that is, it shows the kind of nervousness that you have while speaking. Okay, so in an organization, I understand that communication, there is a communication flow within an organization, the channels existing in an organization, the way that we already told, that I already discussed. So why there is a need for effective workplace communication? Why is that important? Then the tone, the tenor of our conversation is important. You are communicating in through mail, through an email. So how would you, that is, how would you address the customer, or it is to the manager? How would you address that person? What is the note that you have to maintain? What is the subscription? What is the how do you salute that person? All these are important. So it is very necessary that you need, because in a formal place or in a workplace, it is essential that you need to know all these aspects while communicating. So the general conversation, so polite version, there are two versions here given here, a general conversation or a casual one, and a polite version or a casual. Which one would you choose and why? Mm. Then again, yesterday also I think I told you how you would give feedback, or how would you give respond to criticism, how you would criticize somebody. So understand the organization culture, understand the hierarchy, understand the communication pattern system that is being followed in the organization, and then start working, start speaking, or start communicating. So organizations usually have an open office culture, and that is usually, that is, no matter which level. So you feel, that is, the irrespective of your level, you feel communicating. So no, every employee, no matter of which level, is a hands-on contributor and feels sharing ideas, and that is very rarely do organizations have such culture. So open and free flow of communication exists, where people can accept what you say. Your ideas are, that is, your ideas are acceptable. Ideas and opinions are acceptable. So the employees are encouraged to ask questions directly to the top management about certain issues in the company. And the offices also, the offices and cafeterias are designed to encounter interaction among employees with both within and across teams. So all this gets about work as well as play, whatever be it. So you can make an open communication within the organization. So that reflects, so there is a sharing culture, there is collaboration among the management and employees. So wherever this kind of culture exists, there is greater productivity. So people are enthusiastic, or they are energized, or they feel motivated to work. There is no barriers. They feel free. Or there is an open office culture. People, there is, and the productivity is also more. But whereas the rigid form exists, means that people will be, there'll be, the productivity would be, or to make people work, or people working together, collaboration, everything suffers there. So the benefits of communication in enabling interpersonal relationships. So while communicating, it is essential that our interpersonal relations at the workplace depends a lot on being dependable person. Are you a dependable person? That is also an aspect of soft skill. Are you dependable? Can people trust you? Can people rely you? That is what you mean by dependable. So can people trust you? Or are you a dependent? Is, can people depend on you? So you assure something, that is, you say something, and you make it happen without, that is delaying it, or you make it happen with your own, that is, on your own also. So hence you become a dependable person. Then having the right, instead of positive attitude, I would say the right attitude and the right mindset to work. And the right attitude, having the right attitude to work. So the right so maybe at the workplace there is a kind of attitude which is expected from us. So do I possess that? Do I possess that kind of attitude? The right attitude to express my emotions, the right attitude to appreciate people, appreciate the work that I am doing, etc. So having a positive attitude, being earnest in work, being very sincere in work, having a cooperative nature, collaborative nature, understand that you are also part of the team, you are also part of the larger organization, then getting along with people. So people are of immense nature, that nature, diverse nature. People, they have very intricate and complex nature also. So how do I adjust with people of that nature? Getting along with fellow workers, co-workers, customers, external stakeholders, then not being excessively critical, fitting in or trying to understand the company's culture. All these are important. Understanding the company's culture, and finally, it is always not I, it is always you in communication. Focus on so tomorrow also in written communication we'll be dealing with more into this. So focus on the importance of you, not I. And in an organization, what matters is not I, what matters is we, right? So be interactive, be collaborative, involve people like others also. That is involving people like customers, superiors, involve people. Let there be open flow of communication. Let there be transparent communication. Be genuine and be empathetic, or be earnest in whatever you do and whatever you say, and be empathetic also. So focus on we or you rather than I. So successful communicators keep the focus on the other person's needs. So you are there to help the other person. You are there for the other person. So understand that okay, you are a reason for other person's happiness also, other person's needs rather than their own. So help them build a trust, instant rapport with people. So it is only that is you will be able to achieve your goals. That is when the other person's goals or objective is met. That is the importance of you. So always give importance to the other person. So it is not selfishness that matters here. It is not I that matters here. It is the other person. So the importance of empathy again. So be earnest, be genuine, and be empathetic. So so these are the things which I wanted to tell you today. So while working in an organization, make sure that you understand the channel of communication, the importance of verbal as well as non-verbal communication. Non-verbal communication exists in different forms, like the kinesics, the language of body language, the language of touch, the language of space, the language of chronemics, even space and time. See, even there is language of color. So language, the colors of the dress that we wear, that also communicates. So understanding these things, understanding the channel of communication and collaborating with people, you can make you can be very productive in the workplace. So with that, we come to the end of this topic, which is that is the end of unit 10. So if you have any questions, you can ask, or else okay, I see a few questions here. So Abhijit again. So Abhijit is the only person who's been asking questions, but I'm happy that at least there is one person who is asking that question. Thank you, Abhijit, for the question. So it depends on, mainly it exists. See, when we work together in an organization, we do not get enough time to communicate diagonally, or for that matter, see, that is busy organization. You may not have enough time. So when you're doing a project, it is necessary that you may involve people of all the different um, different levels of hierarchy or uh, different groups also, or so it is necessary to communicate with them. But once that is over, maybe it is not frequent. So depending on the task or the job in hand, we follow this diagonal communication. Usually what happens is that the structured upward and downward communication occurs, and the vertical one also occurs. Diagonal is, and apart from this, there is spiral, there is the wheel form, or there is a circular form spike that is with spikes. So I'll discuss that tomorrow. Different types of communication patterns are there. So that is theory, but at least even if it is theory, it will help you to give an understanding of different the channels existing in an organization. Right. So I think it is made. I made that clear. Is diagonal communication relevant for a certain amount of time? So was it cleared, Abhijit? So usually you will be getting a lot of questions. Huh? So is it because they fag end of the day, or is it because of the topic, or is it because you're aware of these things? Okay. Internal and external communication means, see, internal communication within the organ, that which happens within the organization. Okay, there is a monthly meeting. Most of the organization then they have monthly meetings, sometimes they have weekly meetings. So if I say that, okay, the organization that I have monthly meeting means it is a part of the working culture. So for monthly meetings uh, we have this formal, we have an agenda. We let the members know, we inform the members about the agenda, and we after the meeting we send them the circulation, that is circulate the minutes also. So that is part of the internal communication, right, which is formal. Informal means, okay, there is a birthday party or there is a small function. Okay, so somebody is going on, that is somebody is retiring, I told you, somebody's birthday party usually. That is informal. So for that maybe, or somebody completed a course, or somebody, there is a person completed a PhD, or the person completed a degree. So that person will be appreciated. That is a part of informal communication, a small circle. So within no time, maybe that is they gather informally without much formality. So there is no circulation. They just maybe the colleagues phone up another person and let know that, okay, this is what is happening. So please gather at the meeting hall or auditorium, or at somebody's cabin, and we'll have a small celebration there. That is informal. External communication means the company wants to inform something. So every year the company shares the profit with the customers. So that is part of external communication. That and then if there is if you are in a bank, when while working in a bank, maybe the company reminds you, or the bank reminds you to that remit the loan amount within these days, or the bank lets you know that, okay, lets the customers know that, okay, there is an interest rate, there is a rise in interest. So that will be informed to customers. So that will be an external communication, formal, and through mails only. Earlier we used to receive it through postcards or inland. Now it has become, it is all the companies have adopted this digital format, and it is the email communication that we receive. And even when we have to repay the loan, you will get a communication through your even the phones that you use, right? So those are all part of external communication. That is communication with the stakeholders. So is it clear? So formal communication means, so there is a structure to it. We follow the hierarchy. That is the thing. And again, that is everything is that is recorded, formal. Whereas the other one is not recorded. Informal is not recorded. That's the difference. Hope I have answered Abhijit's question. So is that all? You're welcome, Abhijit. So thank you all. Thank you all for being present and listening. So I'll meet you tomorrow with at another topic related to communication itself. That is more on workplace communication, and that too on written communication, which you'll be able to use it, and that is which you need to which you need to know also. Okay, with that I'll take leave then. Thank you so much. Thank you, Kunal.
Ma'am,
Yes, yes, Kunal. Thank you.
can we wind up the session for
Yes,
today?
it's yeah,
Sure,
yes,
ma'am.
it's over.
And by
It's over. Yeah,
yes,
yes.
ma'am.
So I'll meet you all tomorrow. Thank you again, once again. Thank you once again, and um, thank you for your listening.
Thank you, ma'am,
Bye.
for today's lovely session. And thank you, students. Stay tuned for tomorrow. We will meet you by 10. And there is another session for Cambridge from 3:30. Stay tuned for that also.
Thank you, Kunal. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, ma'am.
Bye then.